Well, what's going on, CT at home? I am so glad that we're gathered together. I'm glad that you're right there in your spot with your people. And here we are on the beach today because we're starting our new series called Waves. And what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the great adventure of following Jesus. We're going to talk about the risk of it. We're going to talk about the things that we need to build within us to continue on that adventure. And all that's going to be learned here in this spot. This spot's special to Toby. It's the spot he grew up in. And we're going to talk about some things he learned as a kid that truly parallel with the truths of what Jesus taught him. I'm excited for us as we get kicked off today. I know you're going to enjoy it. This is a little bit of a special way that we're going to share this story with you, and it's going to be a great next few weeks. So let's go ahead and get settled in, and let's get started today.
They have built a lot of stuff since I was here as a kid. These big ones, I don't think there were any big ones down here like this.
Yep.
I wonder if my my grandmother would freak out if she was still here. Did I tell you? I told you about the bridge, right?
Mm-mm.
That bridge we came over. My grandfather was the head of the painting division of Dow Chemical, and so his team developed the first paint that was anti-corrosive back. I mean, it's back 50s, and so every time we'd come over that bridge when I was little, Papa would tell us he painted that bridge, and then Papa died, and that was one of Granny's things. She'd always say, your grandfather. Yes, Granny, we remember. He painted the bridge, but that was always that bridge is kind of a signal for the locals, for people who spend time there. Okay, man, we're at the beach. They're about like when you first went to a ballpark and you came in and saw the field, you know? Well, that's that, because the top of that bridge is where you look out and for the first time see the water. And when you're a kid, it seems like you are on the edge of the world. That was the place that our parents would begin to lecture us about what we could and couldn't do at the beach. Because what we saw as, Disneyland, they saw as a place we could get hurt. Which I get. We had several family member friends who had tough things happen here. Did you spend much time at the beach?
No, not really. Parks or Six Flags kind of places, amusement parks, but we didn't have a beach close by.
Yeah, it's funny. When Mike and I got married, even as we were engaged, she always wanted to come to the beach, and I kind of hated the sand experience part of the beach, and now, I love the beach because I love her, but I am always aware of the unique danger of the beach. And I think for a long time, it's what made me, timid a little bit. Stuff that my friends would do, I was scared to do. But I used to tell my kids everything I learned about adventure, I think I learned at the beach.
Yeah, I guess for me, I've always wanted to surf when I think about the beach, because it seems like a lot of fun, but then there's the flip side of sharks and everything else that I see on TV too, and balancing how much do I really want to do that.
Yeah, that was my thing, the epitome of the cool kids were the ones that were surfing, and then the rest of them who had those bodyboards was kind of a sellout kind of thing. I mean, that's how we saw it, because this was where we spent so much time. And but I always said, I'm going to learn how to surf. And I never did, and I think it's why some of the reasons I didn't surf is probably some of the reasons a lot of people decide to go for kind of the safe life when you think about it. think about you. Here you are, 2 young kids, a wife.
Yeah.
When you think about adventure, you think about it differently than you used to think about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that come into play now, even with just the kids, but even beyond that, it's our fear as parents has changed of even traveling. When we first got married, it was, yeah, let's travel, let's fly, let's go do all these things, to now it's like, is it really worth the risk of getting on a plane because we don't know what's going to happen?
Right.
And then you start going through the reel of what would happen with the girls and who would get them and how would they grow up then. And for Serena and me, it's like we have those hesitations now of even, was that even worth it? We'll just play it safe and stay home. Let's figure out another way to do some fun stuff. But even beyond that, even to jobs and things, it's like, why change something if it's working? Why take a step out and start a new thing because we don't know what's going to happen. We're not guaranteed any of that. And so I think it definitely can be paralyzing as we want to do right and be good parents and be responsible, but then there's always that thing that's like wanting to do more. There's always something in you that's kind of calling to something unknown, but something that could be greater.
Yeah, I think for sure with your kids, that line between responsibility and adventure or risk, I guess,
Yeah.
But I think the sad thing is when you look back and you don't give your kids a heritage of, hey man, let's believe for big things, especially when it comes, I think, to their relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
I lived so much of my life seeing that as kind of a duty and a checklist.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start reading the Bible for yourself and you go, man, he wasn't inviting somebody to a checklist. He was saying, hey man, you want to go on an adventure?
Yeah.
And like the joy that he talks about, I think only comes, I know it's kind of cliche, but it's like being on that wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you, the closest thing for me is water skiing. The first time you got the angle right and you actually got up, and it's this exhilarating feeling is what I imagine it would be like to be up on a surfboard.
Yeah.
And I think that's the life he was offering, but inherent in that was that's not going to happen if you play it safe.
Yeah. It's the rich young ruler story of, and I always heard that growing up thinking, oh, it's because he didn't give enough money and he wasn't able to let go of that because he had great wealth, as is written. But I think it was more than just that piece of it. It was this, like you said, risk, this unknown of really forgetting everything. Whether it was a lot of money or it was a poor fishing career, or pick your thing that Jesus called the disciples and called these guys away from. And for him, he said that rich young ruler couldn't do it.
Right.
He couldn't take that risk. And we kind of see what he missed out on. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be 13, 14 disciples, whatever, but he never followed in that moment. And I always wonder what would have changed if that would have happened.
This street right here, that you see where these trucks are behind this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was my Aunt Blanche's beach house. Like that was my home base most summers. Was in that beach house right there. That's crazy. It looks the same. Different color, but look at it. We'd all pile in there and then head down to the beach.
If those walls could talk, what would they tell us?
Well, hopefully those walls can't talk. But it's funny. we didn't know any better. And we'd walk 3 blocks and be at what could be one of the most exhilarating and could be one of the most dangerous places we could be. And that's why I told you, I think everything I learned about adventure, I learned as a kid growing up on this beach, leaving that beach house. Crazy. Okay, it's windy, man.
Yeah.
But this is what I was telling you about in the truck. So if you look about 3 or 4 waves out, see that little brown?
Yep.
Okay, that's the first sandbar. So the waves hit that sandbar and kick up these little waves. And so when I was a kid, mom's under the umbrella or dad's up there, and the rule was don't go past the first sandbar. And you had the undertow and it's pulling you that way. So they'd yell, get back. And then they'd always say, don't go past the first sandbar. Problem is you feel like a little kid when you get to be 11 or 12 and out deeper where those big waves, you see them out there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the second sandbar where the big waves are coming. And so the teenagers are out there. And so one day when I was 12, I decided, Mom was here, she didn't ever pay as much attention as Dad. She is reading. And when she wasn't looking, I decided I'm headed toward the second sandbar. Here's the deal. Halfway out there, I figured out why Mom didn't want me to go past the first sandbar.
Why?
Okay, so think about it. You're at the first sandbar and you're 10. The water's to here, maybe here.
Okay.
You're kind of short, so maybe to here, right? Well, you see kids standing on that second sandbar that aren't that much taller than you, and the water's like at their knees.
Yeah.
But to get there, you have to go in over your head.
Okay.
The water in between the sandbars will be over your head. In fact, one day the tide was going out. I got caught on the second sandbar back when I was older, long past this time. And 2 little sharks got caught in between because they couldn't get back, right? So there's this depression in between. But here's what I learned, Chase. When I told you everything I learned about adventure was on this beach.
Yeah.
To get to where the big waves are, you got to go in over your head.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it at the time, but when you look at the teaching of Jesus about this abundant life, about this, I mean, it's about trust.
Yeah.
And there's no trust without risk.
Yeah.
And so I gotta believe that there's a force, trying to pull me that way, but then there's a force pulling me toward the big wave.
Yeah.
And I just think, how sad would it be if you spent your whole life at the first sandbar?
Yeah.
There's been 2 or 3 times where I know I was in over my head. I thought about this place. And I thought about what it felt like to be in over your head.
Yeah.
And I also thought about how cool it was when you got to the second sandbar.
And that's what you were talking about. Our adventure of really following Jesus oftentimes will get us in over our head, but if we keep going, there's that second sandbar.
Yeah, it's trust, right? There's not trust without a bit of some type of risk.
Yeah. And is that why Jesus probably was telling us we were going to lose something? It was pick up your cross. It was you got to lose your life to gain it.
Yeah, all
so
this
there's
stuff,
something that we're giving up.
All that stuff. It's not like you got to be a martyr. It's like, hey man, you got to get to a place at some point when, for a greater purpose than yourself, you're in a little bit over your head.
Yeah.
So when you go out there, do not stop at the first sandbar. I will make fun of you.
So you're promising that the reward is greater than the risk?
I'm telling you, look at the little baby wave, right? That little, like Daisy would play in that wave. And then out there, that were the big boy wave. See that big boy right now?
Yeah, there it was.
Yeah, that's come on somebody wave right there. So you got to get out there.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
make me brave. You make me brave. You call me out beyond the shore into the waves. You make me brave. You make me brave. No fear can hinder now the love that made a way. 'Cause you make me brave. You make me brave. You call me out beyond the shore into the waves. 'Cause you make me brave. Oh, you make me brave. No fear can hinder now the love that made a way. 'Cause you make me brave. Oh, you make me brave. You call me out beyond the shore into the waves. 'Cause you make me brave. Oh, you make me brave. No fear can hinder now the promises you made. 'Cause you make me brave. Oh, you make me brave. You call me out beyond the shore into the waves. 'Cause you make me brave. Oh, you make me brave. No fear can hinder now the promises you made. Because of love, in wave after wave, crashing over me, crashing over me. For you are for us, you are not against us. Champion of heaven, you made a way. Because of love, in wave after wave, crashing over me, crashing over me. For you are for us, you are not against us. Champion of heaven, you made a way. Champion of heaven, you made a way for all to enter in.
I honestly love this picture, this idea of what it looks like to go out to the second sandbar, to really go for it all, to take the risk. And this looks different for all of us. And I love that you are there in your CT at Home community. This is a great thing for you guys to be talking about today. What does it look like for you to go to the second sandbar in your faith? What does it look like for you in your life to trust Jesus in an area that maybe is difficult for you? It could be in giving hope to somebody in a special way, of sharing your story with someone who needs to hear it. There's lots of things, but I promise you, as we talked about, the risk is worth the reward. And maybe for some of you, a risk for you is saying, man, I've been a part of CT at Home, I've been receiving hope from this place, but I've never been a part of giving hope to others through my finances. Well, there's a great opportunity even right now for you to be able to give a gift, to make an offering, something that we offer up to God, really as a sign of our love for Him and as a sign of being grateful for what He's blessed us with. And maybe for you, that's going out to your second bars, being generous with your finances. For some of us, I know over these next couple weeks, as we continue to talk about this adventure, we're going to talk about even what it looks like to take that step of getting baptized. And if you are ready to get baptized, if you're ready really to go into the water, as we read in Romans 6 about going into the watery grave, it's this picture of baptism, of showing us we put our old life to death and we step into the new life Jesus has given us. I want you to talk to your CT at Home host. We would love to set up a time for you to get baptized, whether it's right there at your CT at Home host home, whether it's in another place. We will make it happen, I promise. I look forward to hearing these stories from you. I look forward to next week as we talk about really practically and specifically some things we can do to build within our faith. Have a great day. We will see y'all next week.